Alright guys, Hammerdance has made a video here. TBC feels different this time. How does TBC Classic feel the third time around? Here are my thoughts. So in this case we're gonna listen to what he thinks, and I will be adding what I think as well throughout this video, so hopefully we'll get some different takes on how TBC feels. I think me and Hammer plays the video game very differently, and I mean, looking at our takes on GDKPs for example, we think very differently, but yeah, let's just see what he has to say.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about the Burning Crusade, where it's at, where I think it's heading, my thoughts on what I've actually enjoyed in the Burning Crusade and what I think could definitely be done better in future versions of Classic. So without further ado, we're going to jump in. We're going to do a little bit of a walk and talk here in Elwyn Forest, and that's what we're going to do. So let me give you guys a little bit of a history of my Anniversary experience. So I came into Anniversary about 2 months late. I was doing OnlyFans when Anniversary launched, so I started the vanilla portion of Anniversary about 2 months later than everyone else, but I pretty much played.
Ah, what a noob, bro. What an absolute noob. Wait, did he play in OnlyFans? How did I not even know that? Also, let's move where I am, because he's going to be on camera here. There we go.
It the entire way through. I was raiding every single night on multiple characters. I had a pretty good time. We then fast forward, move into the Burning Crusade. This is not my main. I main a Fury Warrior. Played all through the Burning Crusade, haven't missed a single week of raid lockouts so far, and for the most part, I really have enjoyed it. I think it's been a pretty good experience, and you know, it's definitely helped me understand what.
One thing I want to bring out there, like, maybe he talks about it in the video as well, we're gonna find out, but I want some raider opinions here, because I'm not a raid log person. I like farming, I like leveling alts, and I spend a lot of time in the open world. But if you're raid logging, how would you feel about a system where you could trade badges of justice for a bag of consumables? So you could keep doing content and just get consumes to spend in your raid, like flasks, potions, maybe even just materials as well, but maybe just consumes, I don't know, like, yeah, just a way for you to be self-sufficient when it comes to the consumables you're using for your raid, and then giving you badges for raiding as well. Kind of like Season of Discovery, and the whole tarnished undermined real system we have, and how you can buy a bag of goods with those reals.
I do and don't like about later versions of Classic once you leave Vanilla. Now, let's start off this video by showing the numbers, right? Because I want everyone to understand that the Burning Crusade is in a very...
The Burning Crusade is doing way better than I thought it was. Actually, not like way better. Before TBC Anniversary came out, I made a couple of videos about this. I was predicting between 150 and 200,000 people on the raid logs, and they basically doubled that. We now have over 300,000 consistently every week, so it's almost twice as many as my estimations, which is kind of crazy. TBC is doing very well.
Very, very healthy spot still. So we peaked around April 7th at around 332,000 raid logs, and right now we're kind of on like a small decline. I don't think it's going to decline much more than this, but we're at around 313,000 raid logs. Now that is an extremely healthy raid population for TBC the third time. In my opinion, I think it's doing extremely well. I think we'll see a little bit more drop off as the expansion.
I also kind of want to hear, how many characters are you raiding on? Like, a person watching me watching Hammer Dance here, how many characters are you raiding on? Because 300,000 raid logs is not 300,000 people. But it could be close, because not everybody raids on multiple characters, right? But then you have some people raiding on 10 characters, so I would still estimate we're looking at maybe about 200,000 people playing TBC, and the average would be 1.5 characters per person. Maybe.
Expansion goes, and then towards Sunwell you'll probably see the biggest drop off unless we get a Wrath of the Lich King Anniversary announcement. But again, we don't know what's going to happen at BlizzCon. It's 3 months away at this point, less than 3 months, and you know, we could get that Classic Plus.
Dude, time actually flies. I'm not even joking, time goes by so fast. It's under 3 months until BlizzCon. That's so crazy to me. And we're probably gonna get a Classic Plus announcement, maybe even, dare I say, a release date. Bro. Oh, 2 months, 2.5 months. Please, time go faster, even faster.
Announcement. Maybe it's coming this year. Maybe it's coming next year. We could get the Wrath announcement. Maybe it's coming. Maybe it's not. Who knows? Nobody knows. But this video is about TBC, and I wanted to talk about the things that I personally liked and didn't like so far within the Burning Crusade. And I think it's important to talk about this stuff because as we approach the future of Classic with Classic Plus, it's good to know what works and what doesn't work. And I want to, kind of gauge the community. And I want to get you guys' opinions. So please feel free to comment down below on how you feel about any of the stuff I'm about to talk about. So,
Okay.
my number one thing is I think that Burning Crusade is generally considered, at least by me and a lot of other people, a very raid log heavy experience. I don't think that leveling 60 to 70 is particularly interesting or even very fun as compared to the journey of like 1 to 60 in Vanilla WoW. I think that it's kind of like you just want to get through the leveling in TBC and get to the endgame content, the heroics, the raids, and all of that stuff. In my opinion, let me know what you guys think down below. We could disagree. That's completely okay. That's just how I feel. It's not much of a journey. It's kind of feels more of a slog, and you just want to get through it. It's not boring. It is fun to an extent, but again, nothing, it pales in comparison to the vanilla 1 to 60 journey experience, I guess I should say. So after that, in vanilla, when you hit cap level, or even when you're close to hitting cap level, you start farming your prebis, right? You're running BRD, you're running Ubers, you're running all the endgame dungeons, Dire Maul, Strat, Skolo. You're farming your prebis gear. You're spamming Emp runs for your Hodge. You're spamming Ubers to try and get a Fell Striker. All that good stuff.
Yeah.
One main takeaway that I've learned here is that farming your prebis in vanilla, I actually really enjoy. It's probably my favorite part of vanilla is, farming prebis on a character that's just about hitting cap level. I think it's an extremely enjoyable experience. I love running BRD. I love running Ubers and all those dungeons. You do not get locked out of them. You can run them all day long for the most part. Whereas in TBC, your prebis grind starts in the end game level 70 dungeons, and then heroics, which you do get locked to and you can only do once per day. And the difficulty level, not that they're even really hard, but just the way that they feel tuned. In my opinion, you guys know this since week 1 of TBC, I haven't been a fan of it. I think it feels like a major slog to sit there and run heroics. And once you've already done it, you have zero incentive to go back and help guildies or friends do it, because they're just long and they're not fun to me. I don't think they're fun at all. I think the prebis grind, if I had to compare vanilla versus TBC, TBC loses every day of the week. I think the vanilla prebis grind is incredible, and it's a lot of fun to do it with your friends. Like it just never gets old. I've done it so many times, and I could still go and do it tomorrow and enjoy every second of it. TBC, I don't want to step foot in a heroic. I haven't stepped foot in a heroic since like week 4 of the expansion. I refuse to. It's horrendous. That being said, there are some people out there who enjoy running the heroics, and that's great. I personally don't like them, and that's okay. Moving out of that, right? The raiding experience in vanilla versus the Burning Crusade. In vanilla, the raiding experience, I would say, is kind of boring. The aesthetic is great. BWL is my favorite raid of all time. I think it really does just truly scream Warcraft, like the lore and the aesthetic of the place, and you're in Blackrock Mountain, and then the world PvP that's going on outside the raid. It just feels incredible. As far as TBC, the raid, the way that they're played, the mechanics and all that, very simple still, but I think it's a step up in terms of like fun-wise, playing your character and hitting your buttons depending on the class you're playing, obviously.
I think doing post-nerf raids was such a W. I get that might not be the most popular take. I think it depends on who you are and which type of player you are when you hear me say that, because like, of course, if you're in the I want pre-nerf camp, you're gonna hate me for saying what I just said. You're gonna be like, oh, Solheim, you stupid, you stupid. But if you are more like the casual person, which I think most players are casual on these, it's just such a much easier way to play the game. And having pugged in TBC, people just find ways to wipe anyway. It is crazy. I can't even imagine pugging pre-nerf. If the raids were pre-nerf, I wouldn't do any content ever.
But the raid design in TBC, I think, is fantastic. I think it's a really good time. I do like SSC and TK. I think they're very fun raids. The aesthetic of them, not my favorite, right? I like the dragons and the lava and all that stuff, the giants, like that is like my favorite part of WoW. So the aesthetic of these raids so far in the Burning Crusade the third time, you know, I'm starting to feel like, you know, I could take it or leave it. Like, it is what it is, right? Like, I keep reiterating that this is the third time I'm playing the Burning Crusade. So this is where, like, my real thoughts and opinions are going to come from. Like, no glazing, no rose-tinted goggles. Like, we're going through it again right here. And, you know, this is real. This is how I feel about it. In terms of mechanics and running through these raids, fun, aesthetic, don't like it. But either way, that's completely okay, right? It's a different type of thing. I do, however, feel like for me, for the rest of the Burning Crusade, I probably will just be raid logging one character, my warrior, and maybe a second character, which would be this Boomkin that I had leveled and started doing pre-bis on and then kind of got bored of it, so I stopped. But I will absolutely be playing the entire expansion through, at least on my warrior. But playing the entire expansion through, sadly for me, is just raid logging. There's not really anything else in the Burning Crusade that interests me outside of that. I don't really have any interest in pushing arena rating or anything like that. And
which is kind of a shame, because as somebody who's done PvP in every single expansion of WoW now, except for the last two in retail, like the War Within, I have not done any PvP, Midnight WoW, no PvP. Other than that, I've tried to do some rated PvP in every single expansion. I started this in TBC Classic, I also did it in Wrath Classic, and that was mainly because I never did PvP in OG TBC and OG Wrath. I started my PvP journey in retail in Cataclysm, and I wanted to like experience what PvP was like before Cataclysm. So in Wrath Classic and TBC, I did quite a lot of PvP, and honestly, I'm just gonna say it, TBC PvP is kinda peak. It's really good. It's really, really good. Also, weirdly enough, PvP in Mists of Pandaria is really good as well. Well, really good is maybe subjective, it's definitely way better than retail. And for anybody who's doing PvP in retail right now, feels bad, man. Because we currently have two much better versions of the game that are just so much more better for PvP. Mists of Pandaria Classic and TBC Anniversary. Oh, chef's kiss PvP.
and that's fine. For the people who do enjoy that, you know, that's great. For me, I do feel like TBC is much more of a raid log experience, and that leads me to my next point.
It's very
raiding in the Burning Crusade. It feels like most of the classes are heavily dependent.
Hey, look at that. He just happened to meet a gnome. He just met a random person while doing the walk and talk. I'm guessing this is in TBC as well. That's kind of cool.
Most of the classes are heavily dependent on other classes to perform well at all. And you could say that this is the case for Vanilla too, but not as much as the Burning Crusade. And let me explain this, right?
Okay.
So before we get into how the classes affect each other, I want to talk about specific items that may deter people from playing certain classes, right? Especially if you want to parse well or perform well or get taken into groups. You know, if you're a rogue or a fury warrior, you really want your DST, right? Or you're a hunter, you really want your DST. It's incredibly hard to get a DST. Every single Gruul pug, it's hard res. Pretty much the only way you're getting a DST is if you run your own Gruul pugs and hard res it for yourself, and filling that group with a hard res DST takes you like 1 to 2 hours. So that's kind of a slog. The other option is to be in a guild and be on a prio list for DST, which means you need to get multiple drops and then eventually get to you on that list to get your DST. That never feels good. So there's some items that kind of lock the potential of your class. Like they're like gate kept behind this in TBC. Another one is Quag's Eye for casters, right? You only get one shot at this per day. So if you've had
which is way better than DST, because DST you have one chance per week, and you're rolling versus so many people. Thankfully, a lot of casters, well, I shouldn't really say a lot, but warlocks can solo this boss. So if you're a warlock, you should be soloing it, and then if you have a friend who's a warlock, he can also carry you, right? So like guildies can help each other out as well. And yeah, any warlock can solo the boss, any hunter can solo the boss. I haven't seen if a mage can solo the boss, but maybe it would be possible as well. So yeah, like there are ways to get that trinket way easier, or yeah, it's ways to get Quag's Eye way easier than getting DST. DST is it's rough, man. I would not be surprised if half of the people will just never see, yeah, like half of the people who need DST will never get DST, which is kind of sad, by the way. A little bit, at least.
Incredibly bad luck. Like I ran into a guy the other day that has done 70 plus slave pens runs and still doesn't have Quag's Eye.
Oh.
Which means he's been doing it pretty much since this came out, and maybe a little bit later than that. But that's crazy. And that is like, so it locks so much of your character's potential behind that one item, which you can then do only once per day, right? It's not like your Hodge in vanilla where you can sit there and spam Emperor runs every day, all day long if you want, until you get it. You'll get it way quicker. So that's kind of a thing that I've learned that I don't like, and I wouldn't like to see that in like a Classic Plus environment. And the next thing is, again, the way the classes affect each other in the Burning Crusade. This one really is kind of a buzzkill for me, and it's an example of this is, so let's say you're playing a Destruction Warlock. For you to really pump in raid, you need to be in your group with your Boomkin, your Elemental Shaman. And if you want to get even sweatier, you'd throw a Shadow Priest in there so you don't even need to waste globals on life tapping, right? But most of the time, your kill times are going to be quick enough where you might not even need to do that. But again, you need your Boomkin for that crit. You need your Elemental Shaman for the crit and the hit from the Totem of Wrath. It feels super weird. And the spell damage totem. Like, if you end up in a raid where those people call out, or those classes aren't available to your group, it feels like you're playing a gimped version of your class. And I'm not really a fan of this. And the reason why I figured this out is because technically this is like the earliest form of like borrowed power that I can find in Classic WoW. Okay. Technically, it's borrowed power. You're playing your class, but it's extremely bolstered up by having that Elemental Shaman, by having that Boomkin in your group. And when you remove those two classes from your group, it feels like you got hit with like a 50% DPS nerf. Another example of this.
That's kind of fair. And from retail, I hate borrowed power. Every single time. Like, borrowed power is so bad. This form of borrowed power that he's talking about here, though, is not really the same, but it's still a kind of borrowed power. Right?
And I'm sure there's plenty of you out there that are going to be able to sympathize with this and feel the same way. If you're playing a Fury Warrior or a Rogue, and you're in a group without an Enhancement Shaman, so you don't have Wind Fury, or even just losing your Feral in your group for that crit buff, it feels horrible. It literally feels like you're playing a different game. And I'm not a big fan of this. And to be honest, you know, with this TBC this time around in my previous guild,
Isn't that just how Classic WoW is, though, and always have been? Like, raid composition matters a lot? Should we really start messing with that?
We're facing the roster boss every week, so we would show up to raid time and we have to spend like an hour just like sourcing people to fill in the callouts. And if that was an Enhancement Shaman or a Feral Druid or an Elemental Shaman or a Boomkin, it really did kind of suck for the rest of the raid, because now you're going through this raid, you're wasting all this money on consumes, if you are consuming, and your character just feels weaker than it did last week. And I'm not a big fan of that. I would say, you know, moving forward into Classic Plus, we should stay away from that. There could be small buffs here and there, like Wind Fury's always been a thing. But it never has felt so drastic as it does in the Burning Crusade. And I don't know if it's because it's 25 man coming down from 40, but it feels rough if you're a Fury Warrior and you don't have a Feral in your group. Like, it really does feel like a mega DPS nerf. And I would like to see them stay away from stuff like that in Classic Plus. Like, small buffs here and there are okay. But in terms of like your class feeling completely different if like these two classes aren't specifically in your group, I think that feels bad. So I'd like to stay away from that. But other than that, I do think that the raid log experience in the Burning Crusade, if you're in a good guild, is incredible. I think the raids are designed very well. They're very fun to go through, at least for me. I think they're fun. And, you know, like I said, I'm going to play it the entire way through. And I think that, you know, this is something that a lot of people are going to be 50-50 on. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I want to see down in the comments where you guys align. Do you align more with like the way vanilla plays out, or do you like the raid loggy style of the Burning Crusade? I'm actually very, very curious, because this is something.
For me, I like raid logging in these expansions, but when it comes to, for example, Classic Plus, I would like more outside of raid content. But to me, that is usually where vanilla WoW shines, because like, you don't have any flying mounts. and things just take more time. Things take more time, there is more friction in the world itself. Traveling takes more time because no flying mounts as well. Which is why, once again, for me to fully enjoy Wrath Anniversary, I kinda need Classic Plus to be out at the same time, so I can fully raid log Wrath Anniversary, and then just play Classic Plus outside of raid log times. So to me, the perfect way would be Classic Plus launching October 2026, we play the game, explore a lot, discover a lot, and we get to level 60, and we stay there. We do some level 60 content, and in February, we get Wrath Anniversary. Because then it's like, you've played Classic Plus now for 4 to 5 months, and now you can just level up a character to 80 in Wrath and start raid logging. Like in Wrath as well, the first raid is so easy, you don't really need to farm a bunch of prebis. We had a guild going on, what was the server called? The Giant Stalker, I believe? Like the fresh Wrath server in Wrath Classic. We had a guild where we did no heroic dungeons at level 80, and we all went straight into the raid. Guess what? It went fine. So it's just like, yeah, such an easy raid. Level up to level 80, start raid logging. Wait for ICC. Dude, ICC is the best raid of all time.
Thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately, because going into this, I went into this saying, yeah, TBC is like my favorite part of WoW. It's my favorite expansion. And I was extremely hyped. Not that I'm not having fun, I'm having fun, but I feel like that spark is definitely gone for me the third time around. I think, last time we did TBC, I was way more into it. But again, maybe that's because we were excited and we didn't know what was coming next. We were like, oh, we're definitely getting Wrath, right? We're going to get into Wrath, and like, this is so exciting. I'm going to level all these characters. That excitement is kind of gone. Right. I think that there is this very seasonal, temporary feeling this TBC, so maybe that affects why I don't want to play so many characters, and, like, we know it's seasonal.
It's seasonal, and it's a lack of permanence, because we don't know what happens after TBC. I think a lot more people would play TBC a lot more, and a lot more seriously as well, and have specific goals to reach, if they knew if we were getting a TBC era. Like, just for myself, right, if I knew that we get a TBC era at the end of TBC Anniversary, I would want to have every class at level 70. I would also want to have a couple of duplicates on both the PvE server and the PvP one, a couple of Alliance characters and a couple of Horde characters. Plus, I would focus way more on making gold as well, so I would have a lot of gold in TBC era. Just knowing the long-term reward of my grind makes me grind more.
We know we're either just going to Wrath, and even that's going to be seasonal. We're all just waiting for the Classic Plus announcement, which we know is coming. So that definitely does play a big role into feeling this way. But again, I want to stress that I'm still having a good time. I'm enjoying it, but I'm definitely going to, dial back a little bit and kind of focus mainly on just raid logging one character and go where I kind of enjoy, which has been, I've been just leveling on hardcore, having a good time on there while I'm waiting for BlizzCon to happen, right? But let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. I'm really curious. I want to get some good discussion going around this, because I do want to see how everyone feels and kind of, gauge the community and check the speed of this whole thing and see where everyone's at, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels this way about all this. But yeah, drop some comments down below. Follow me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/hammerdance, and subscribe to the channel if you guys love Classic WoW just as much as me. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I'll see you all in the next one.
There we go, boys. That was a good video by Hammerdance. I really enjoyed those walk and talks. I like the way he just, like, he seems so down to earth. We do have very different views on certain things in the game, and we play the game differently. Like, he raid logs more than I do, and he's more pro GDKP than I am, but for the most part, I do like his takes. So let me know how you feel about everything that he just talked about as well in the comments down below here. And once again, I tried to ask a question at the start of the video, where if you're raid logging right now, how would you feel about being able to buy a bag of random consumables for badges of justice? And maybe getting badges of justice from doing the raid. Just so you could be, like, self-sufficient when it comes to raiding. So you could raid, get badges, spend badges, get consumes, raid more. I think that would fix a lot of the economy problems as well in TBC right now. Because, like, I personally, I have enough gold. So this is not for me. I have enough gold to raid log on 2 characters every week for the entire TBC, and I'll be fine. But for most people, the economy seems to be in shambles. So yeah, let me know how you feel about that, and how can we fix everything at the moment, and is there any way we could make TBC even better than it currently is? Leave some thoughts in the comments. Either way, thank you for watching me watching Hammerdance. The link is going to be down below as well to Hammerdance's video, so thank you once again, and I will see you next time. Bye.